From Tally to Cali,
it's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up! Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
One ball, Corner Pocket.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Good evening to you, or good morning if you're listening to this as your Friday podcast. It is Wake Up Warchant. We are live and presented by the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, as well as our friends at DeLunaCoffee.com. Check them out, DeLunaCoffee.com. Come explore their world of coffee, our world of coffee. Promo code WARCHANT15 saves you 15% off your orders. Check out their gifts. Go to DeLunaCoffee.com up top, hit shop, and then hit gifts, and you can see the bundles. Bundles, you get coffee, you get cocoa, you get the tumbler, $40. Keep one of them. Gift one of them. Tis the season. Tis the season. It is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, cptallybar.com. We were missing out on bingo to do this for you folks at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, so appreciate what we do, please. Appreciate what we do. How are you, Corey?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm fired up. I'm ready for this. I'm ready for the last road game of the season, which I won't be at. Ira, I guess, is en route. He's on a plane. I know he was in the Jacksonville airport today. We're not sure if he's on a plane yet. But yeah, hope everybody survived the hurricane. That was crazy. Kind of, you don't get a lot of hurricanes in the middle of November, do you?
No. This is like the latest or one of the latest. So that's a whole nother podcast, though, about why that stuff's happening. Corey, is this the last game Florida State will play in the state outside the state of Florida this calendar year?
I think so, man. I think that like you, especially when you told me about Tampa having an ACC tie, and I just can't imagine the ACC wouldn't give one of those bowls a chance to have Florida State in it, to get some people in the stadium for that game, whatever the game might be.
We don't usually do this on this show. That was yesterday's show, the Renegade Express. But our guy Riser Mike, rather. He's Riser Mike, whatever you want to go with. Posted a comment on the warchant.com Tribal Council, which can be accessed by you, dear listener, viewer, for only $10 for an entire year of access to this. The Premium Recruiting Board, Michael Langston's got some information on the recruiting class, 3-2-1s, columns, observations, all that stuff. But Riser Mike says, I hear you guys talking about Jordan Travis's measurables. I would like to point out Jalen Hurts. He is only 6'1", 220. Jordan being 6'1", 201, not far off. I believe he could get to 220 next year. Do you think that the success Jalen Hurts has can create an interest in Jordan? I can recall when Hurts was mainly a running quarterback and then later became a better passer as well.
I mean, I am stunned that Jalen Hurts has become this guy, by the way. I didn't see that happening at all. Lincoln Riley, man, God bless that guy. He resurrected his career, made him a draftable quarterback, and then look at him now. That was a guy that was benched in the national championship of the halftime of a national championship game for a true freshman. Yeah, man, I just look, I guess you would say Travis is the same athlete as Hurts. You don't see Jordan running over folks. And I remember Jalen Hurts doing that in college. Jordan is not that kind of runner. Not that Jalen Hurts is running over NFL linebackers much anymore, but I think Jalen Hurts might be a little bit better athlete. Certainly a bigger athlete. And I don't know, man. I don't know that Jordan Travis can get up to 220 pounds and still keep that same athleticism. In measurables, to me, it's not just the height and weight. There's arm strength. I don't see NFL, not yet anyway. I haven't seen it a ton. NFL arm strength on the intermediate throws, the throws to the sidelines from Jordan Travis that maybe Jalen Hurts has. I think Jalen Hurts always had a pretty strong arm, right, Aslan? It was just, you never knew where he was throwing it.
Yeah. Different body types, but, being in Mississippi covering Dak Prescott, I remember there's no way. I mean, you want to talk about being like all-time wrong. I'm like, there's no way he's going to play quarterback in the NFL. He was a guy that didn't really hit a lot of intermediate stuff. It was either he would scramble away or he would, Dan Mullen would scheme somebody wide open for him and he'd be able to find the guy and hit him streaking wide open, which is like, all right, that doesn't happen on Sundays a lot. But, he was at one point an MVP candidate last year, I think, and Dallas was desperately waiting for him. Well, maybe not desperately. They were doing all right with Cooper Rush. But, he's a guy that kind of turned things around and ended up being a middling round pick. And look at him now. So that's not a bad comparison. I see. But, I don't know if you could put 220 on. I don't know if I can't imagine like Jordan putting 20 good pounds on and keeping what Corey talked about, like that same sort of elusiveness And we still do. I mean, we see
because he's 22 years old, right? Or 23 years old. It's not like he's 19 and he's kind of, you feel like he's kind of is what he is as a college athlete. I don't know how much more he could put on and still keep his athletic. I mean, I think this is about what his frame is as a college athlete, right?
And I doubt he weighs 201 right now. He might have weighed 201 in July when they opened up camp, but I don't see him having that same kind of the size that I thought I saw with him in preseason camp. Nothing major or anything. Hey, listen, man, just keep winning football games. That's the best thing. But, maybe we were underselling his NFL potential, but I still think $1 million in front of your face in 30 days, guaranteed to come back, run it back with Mike, Johnny, and Micah, as opposed to like, all right, man, this is your career. I mean, especially with his brother. I mean, I think Devin can probably give him a real insight. I mean, a little bit different, obviously, going pro baseball, pro football, but just, things change, man. Things change quickly when you become a professional. Why not take the money and have the perks of being an amateur?
I do think he'll get a shot in a camp or something. Like, I do think he's not like undraftable or unsignable, period. He's not going to be a high draft pick. He would have to go earn a spot on a team.
Panama Jack, Corey, is it safe to say FSU is back when we win out this year? Question mark.
No. Again, though, it's the context of back, right? Like, back in the top 15, yeah, they're back. But back to what you guys grew up rooting for Florida, no, you've got to stack this stuff on top of each other. I actually wrote a column that'll be up on the site soon. If you're listening to this on Friday, it's already up, about Patrick Payton. And I can't remember if I talked about this yesterday or not, and that my mind was adrift in that traffic jam, about how important that is for the program to have guys like Patrick Payton learning from Jermaine Johnson, and then Patrick Payton passing it down to someone else, who then passes it down to someone else. That's when you know you're back, is when you have the players establishing the culture in teaching. Obviously, the coaching helps a ton, but you get to learn from watching a first-round pick. This year, Patrick Payton is maybe playing alongside another first-round pick. That only helps. Just by osmosis, it helps. You see what it looks like up close. You see where you have to get, and that's invaluable when you're talking about developing. Think about Rodney Hill, man, and the amount of just the amount of talent he's around, and how he sees how these guys perform, how they prepare, and he might be better than all of them by the time he's done. Who knows? I'm not going to put a ceiling on that kid, but that's when you know programs are back, is when they're having those kind of developing stages year after year after year, where guys are sitting behind NFL draft picks, learning the way, and then becoming NFL draft picks themselves. What are we looking out here? 87?
87. Corey knows right off the dome. The schedule's on the screen for our podcast listeners of the 1987 team, just because that's, the first year of the dynasty. If you want to use maybe what's going on now as being that first year of the rebirth, not quite the same. Not quite the same.
Right.
But,
right.
You're moving in the right direction. I think, the dark ages, the lost decade, whatever you want to call Jimbo's last year and what we've dealt with the previous 4 seasons, that stuff's sort of behind you. You're going to, 90% of the time you're going to beat the teams that are better than you.
Hey, you know what would be better, though, is look at the 86 season. Because that might be more, in fact, it is more comparable, because you're hoping next year, if the right guys come back, can turn into an 87 season. There you go. You got to zoom in. Look at this guy, man. Guys, don't undervalue what Aslan brings to this show. I mean, I don't even know what he just did. That was crazy. And he did it right. He did it so quickly. Toledo, big win. The worst result in that season, and I remember it clearly, is the North Carolina game. They should have won that game. They were favored to win that game, but it was also the week after Pablo Lopez died. And that the team was heartbroken. But if you take that game away, because they really just weren't into it, clearly. I mean, look, you have pretty good wins, no great wins, but you don't have any bad losses. You lost to Miami, which was the best team in the country, 41-23, and your quarterback and starting running back got hurt in that game and were out. They were knocked out in the second quarter. That was and they were all so young, and most of the guys were coming back. Dion was just a sophomore. Sammy Smith was a sophomore. And they knew going into that junior year with all those guys coming back, man, we might be a problem. We were really close to having a really good year in 86, and here we are now in 87, and they were, in fact, a problem for the next, decade and a half.
So does Jamie's toss get added to the pregame highlights every FSU home game?
I think he was saying every FSU Canes game.
Oh, Canes game? All
yeah,
right.
like Papuchis and Norvell were talking. I mean, it certainly should be on the remix, whatever they do when they're doing these hype videos. I don't understand why Jernigan's isn't on there more. When he body slammed the lineman, like that should be up there with Marvin to me. But yeah, this is up there because again, it's so dismissive, and Tessitore's call is great, and that should be included in the hype videos. But yeah, man, that was a really cool play by Jamie Robinson. Just like, I'm done with you. I'm tired of this. Sit down.
Our guy Andres points out that Jalen Hurts was a state champion weightlifter that squatted almost 600 in high school.
Okay, well that's a measurable too, I guess. Yeah. Wonder what he did 225 on. How many 225s can you get up, Aslan? How many reps?
I mean, I haven't squatted since February because I threw my back out.
No, not squats, benches on the bench.
Oh, none. Maybe one. I couldn't get one right now. No, my shoulder.
What do you think if I could do 270 on the Nautilus sitting up doing this, like not a real bench press? What does that equate to on the actual bench press?
Maybe 185.
I was going to say, yeah.
You know,
I need to get up to like.
185's good. Well, 185 is a good look. 45s and 25s on this. That's a good look.
All right. Okay. Well, I don't do traditional bench press, so I just sit and do the kind of the old man push it forward, sitting like this, pushing it forward.
Kyle was saying that Florida State's not back after this season. Why not? Texas gets to be back every year. So.
Well, that's true. That's a good point. Texas is always back. Notre Dame, Miami is always about to be back. They're right on the cusp, and then something crazy happens, like a 6-loss season every year.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you there, Corey. Matthew Ogles is here, everybody.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Matty
starting us off. Thank you. I'd clap harder. But quick story, the guy who did my driveway, he had to finish up some work, and I didn't know if he was going to come back and do it, but he did. And, like, I kind of felt bad. Like, I thought maybe I kind of overextended my ask. So I actually helped him shovel, like, a bunch of the gravel to go backfill the rest of, like, my driveway. And these hands are meant for cuddling, not shoveling. You know? And, got a nasty blister right now. So
oh, man. Well, I'll clap for you, Matty-O. Thank you, man. We appreciate it, buddy.
You blue-collar folk out there keeping the world moving around.
We got delicate hands. I always get a blister just from, like, 20 swings at the range because I'm a big baby.
Shout out to our guy Gator Kirk, who can't be here. 4-year anniversary with a significant other cat. He will listen later. So,
all right, Gator Kirk. Hey, congratulations, man. Here's to 4 more.
Yeah. How long are you?
Here's to a lot more than that.
Are you and Steph at 4? Or are you guys at 5?
We're at 5, man. 5.5 actually. 5.5. So yeah, she brings that up quite a bit.
Ms. Palalis, good evening. She says, going for 3 straight dubs. She thinks we win by 2 scores. I agree, at minimum. Do you think we'll play well all 4 quarters again, Corey?
No. I'm a cynic at heart. Clearly, I'm a pessimist, but also, like, it doesn't seem like that's how the sport works. You're not just consistently good for every quarter you play or every drive. There are going to be some dips here the last 3 games. Maybe not next week, but certainly in the Florida game, there will be dips too, and in the bowl game. So, no, I don't expect to clean, just beat the bejesus out of someone for 4 quarters, never really in doubt. There's going to be some a little helter-skelter-ish type stuff because it's college football, man, and it's sports. But I do think, I mean, I guess if the quarterback plays, it's different. But, yes, I do. I would be very surprised if they don't win by 2 scores. That doesn't mean they can't. Clearly, I'm wrong all the time, but they're a better team. They feel better about themselves. They can run on anyone, and that's not a tough place to play. So I assume they'll win. I don't know if I don't expect them to play like a consistently great game for all 4 quarters, though. There'll be a dip. Maybe a slow start. Maybe they'll have a slow start for the first time in a minute.
Hey, listen, they didn't score any points in the 3rd quarter against Miami. So
is that true? Well, yeah. Well, I guess they had a 31 there at half. That was pretty good.
So, can't be great all 4 quarters, but you can still have a great result. So hopefully our guy Wes isn't inundated with water right now. The Villages. I mean, we've been getting hit with rain all day in Tallahassee. I can't imagine what it's been like in the Villages. But he says over under 225 rushing yards against Syracuse. Don't forget to the thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel, as well as Warchant, support DeLuna and the CP. That's the Corner Pocket. Go Noles, beat the Orange.
I think I'm going to say under. I really do think Syracuse is going to do some things to try to really slow down the running game, and they will not quit, and they will play hard. But again, like I said yesterday and the day before, I think that should open up stuff in the passing game, because I think first and foremost they are going to be there to stop the run, because they do not want to get embarrassed like Miami got embarrassed.
Derek wonders, how will FSU possibly handle the white Randall Cunningham?
Come on, guys. Come on, guys. The point was sort of valid, and it was just the first tall quarterback that came to mind. Because isn't Schrader tall? He looks like he's 6'5". Like he looks like he's a maybe Dak, but he's faster than Dak.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Rob Krause, my guy Deuce Spann fell off after the first month of the season. Any chance of skirmish Saturday night lights a fire?
Maybe. Again, man, it's not like he's not on the field. He plays what, Aslan? Probably 25 snaps a game. It's just they don't throw it to him. Well, and it was hard on Miami because they didn't throw to anybody. He was him and Johnny Wilson were the only two receivers that caught a pass in that game, I think. But I mean, I don't know that he's playing poorly. It's just, how would you know? Because they never throw him the ball. They keep throwing it to, I mean, look, good guys, 4 and 80 and 14. But he is in there. He is playing he's not just buried on the bench. So he is due, right? Isn't he due to make a big play, Aslan? Like a 75-yard touchdown? Isn't that in his wheelhouse?
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, sure. I mean, because he hasn't really had one this season, so why not join the party? I love Rob. Rob's always got good questions. This almost goes back to the Winston Wright thing, too. And again, as a fan, you fall in love with some of these storylines and some of these, these star rankings and the way these guys are built. And obviously we talked up these guys throughout the offseason, and then you're like, all right, man, where's it at? But it's like, hey, man, like, what's wrong right now? Like, what is there something lacking in Florida State that, like, they need to figure out a way to get Deuce Spann more involved? I mean, the onus is on him to figure out a way to get open a little bit better. Maybe, catch Jordan's eye, beat your guy off the line by a mile so you get the ball your way. Because right now, I mean, this offense is producing and very productive. So, I mean, I don't think there's anything. I mean, like Ron Dugans was going to get like, hey, Mike, we need to figure out a way to get 5 involved more. It's like, why, man? We're good. We're cruising. Like, we need to get one. We need to get Winston Wright healthy. We got to get him right. See what we have going into 2023. Like, why? We're fine. Where's it going to go?
I would like, just for the future, I would like Deuce to make a couple of big catches here down the stretch. I think that would be big for his confidence and just for his future. I do think he can be a real weapon for them in years to come. It's certainly not happening this year, but he does need to go make a play, right? Like, make a play that matters just for him next year and the year after that.
Let's go to sunny Pensacola.
James B in the house.
Hey. James B, 200 American. Clap for me, Core. My hands hurt. Man.
That's right. Blister McGee over there can't clap. Thank you, James B. Thank you, buddy.
James B, 200 American in the jar. Thank you, man. Hopefully we get to see you here next week, if not Black Friday.
For Louisiana. Yeah. Just stay the week, James B. Just stay the week. What else you got going on?
We'll go get a turkey. We'll get a Cajun turkey from Popeyes, We'll do it big.
Yeah.
We'll do PIG. I see this game against Syracuse as another check mark. That being, can we now put together back-to-back blowouts against teams we were supposed to beat? Go Noles.
Back-to-back, right? That'd be 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Look, it was such an anomaly what happened in South Florida. Not that Florida State shouldn't have won that game. They were favored after all, but nobody goes on the road in this rivalry and wins by 42 points. That was outrageous. I just don't expect you to go on the road in college football in the year 2022 and hammer teams. Not unless you're Ohio State or Georgia. It just doesn't happen a lot. That's why I would be surprised if it's a blowout of that magnitude, like the last 2 weeks. It can still be a comfortable win, but it's just not. It's not as easy as it looked on Saturday night, I don't think. And if they go out and beat Syracuse, James B is right, man. That is a great check mark. I beat Syracuse convincingly. Any win is great. But if you go out and beat them convincingly, you start feeling like, oh, are we one of the top 10 teams in the country that just had a bad loss in Raleigh? Like I really thought, I think, and when we got Fabian back and Jared Verse back, is this one of the top 10 teams in the country? I mean, I think Florida State could actually, and fans could ask themselves that if they beat the bejesus out of Syracuse, because Syracuse isn't a rollover. They're not a pushover. By the way, did you hear what Dino said about when he was talking about Florida State's win over Miami?
No.
And he's like, man, that 45, Miami's got athletes to hold them to just 3 points. That's really something. That's really impressive. They played really well, but I thought what was more impressive is what they did to Georgia Tech, which is a very thinly veiled shot at Miami. Like, man, he's more impressed that you blew out Georgia Tech at home than blowing out Miami in South Florida.
Yeah, and that was a bad football team that we did bad things to. But
isn't that what you're supposed to do, Aslan? Absolutely.
Again, listen, man, when Jimbo left, some of the narrative was like, hey, whatever, he beats the rivals, but he wasn't beating Jimmy Johnson's Canes. He wasn't beating Steve Spurrier. And I'm like, come on. We're going to use that line of reasoning around here. He beat an interim staff. We didn't beat an interim staff last year. Like, go beat these rivals, man. I don't care if they're down or up, man. Beat them convincingly like that.
And also beat teams that you're supposed to beat and put your foot on their throat. Yeah. Those were very good signs the last 2 weeks, what they did.
I mean, somebody was talking about it, I think, when we had the In the Coop show with Robert Cooper on Monday, Dimitri Emanuel, his guest co-host. I can't think of any rivalry game, even like the 2013 game against Florida, to where you were just in such dominant control the entire game. There's a little bit of nip and tuck against Florida in the first half.
It was 3-0 with like 5 minutes to go in the half that game.
I think even 13 at home against Miami, never got nervous, but it wasn't like we totally.
It was a touchdown. I think that was a touchdown game at half.
I mean, what you did, within like the first 3 drives. Exactly. Listen, they had Jordan on the ropes somewhat. I mean, I don't want to say on the ropes. That's really exaggerating, but like they almost had a 3 and out, and they didn't get off the field. And then he promptly throws like a beautiful pass downfield at Pokey, and it was like the route begins. This is how it's going to play out. So, beat teams badly that are bad. We would like that. Thank you, James B. You bad, but like the good kind of bad. You're the man. We appreciate you. Wes wonders where the glasses are at, Corey.
They're right on the counter over there, Wes. I don't really need them for this stuff as much as I need them for actually being at the football games. But I appreciate that. I've been told by everybody other than Aslan that I look good in them. He told me they're too. What'd you say? They're too wide frames.
I didn't say they look bad.
Well, you did. You said they needed to be skinnier.
I think they were smaller. They went like beyond your whatever, man. Who am I?
Exactly. You're just blister boy over there.
Garrett S. by Old Glory. Maybe he's at Iwo Jima. Who knows? Shout out Veterans Day Friday as you're listening to this podcast.
Yeah, and Brady has to go to school. Isn't that crazy?
I heard.
What are we doing up here in Gwinnett County? I don't understand that.
Hey, boys. When we look back on the season, what will we say was the defining moment, or has it not happened yet?
Yeah, I think to me right now, like Shaheem's PAT block is clearly one of the bigger plays of the season, but I want to go back because I said Louisville as being a signature win. I don't think that's true. Clearly, if you beat Florida and Miami, Louisville doesn't get the name the signature win. It doesn't get that label. But being on the road, losing your star quarterback, losing your star defensive end, Fabian Lovett not even playing.
Tackle.
Yeah, all these injuries that happened. There was more too. They're not.
Malcolm Ray went out.
For you to still find a way to win that game, even with missing 2 field goals, the last one you shouldn't have kicked. That Trey Benson finding himself in that fourth quarter drive, Tate Rodemaker actually winning a game and looking like a college quarterback and making plays. Man, that's a really cool moment. Maybe not the defining one. We'll see how the season goes, but that's a really cool moment. It's hard to. Because all their other wins have been kind of blowouty here lately. Like, I don't know, is there a defining moment in the Boston College or the Miami game? Is it Jamie Robinson tossing the guy aside? I just think that pass to was it Johnny that gave him the lead? That in the foot in the end zone by the pylon, that great catch and the throw by Tate, man, those are, and then Noles intercepting the pass. Those are really cool moments. Because looking back with all those guys out, for you to find a way to beat a bowl team like that is pretty on the road. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. And to Corey's point on the show yesterday, I mean, Louisville's messed around and won like 3 or 4 games in a row. They're 6-3 right now as well. So they could possibly upset Clemson. They could, end up winning 8 games or so, and that looks like a really good dub. I try to look this up, but couldn't get far. But our guy Tony Greco says that Bear guy picked Cuse money line straight up.
When does he do the Bear guy from Game Day, right? And
Chris Felica.
When would he even give I wouldn't think he'd give a pick like that until Game Day.
He's got a pod that he does with Stanford Steve. Searching his Twitter timeline, I don't see anything that he's given up for game lines or any recommendations, but maybe possibly, we just had an inter-office memorandum go out that I shouldn't pop things up that I can't confirm. So, Tony,
smart.
You
especially these days.
Yeah, Kyle says Corey went from Chuck Sightsinger to Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I appreciate the compliment. I don't know who's Chuck Sightsinger.
Oh, we're going to try to see. He's a television personality.
Oh, is it the guy from Pawn Stars or Pawn Wars or something?
I don't know. Come on, Kyle. I mean, what, just a bald white guy? Come on, man. That's not cool.
With a gray beard. Hey, man, I see it. Not anymore, though. You don't see that anymore. Stone Cold, baby. Did you ever go watch Stone Cold E.T. like I told you, Aslan?
I did. He's good for 3 seconds, and then like he can't do the whole. He can just do like it's Stone Cold, he can do that, but like I don't feel like he can carry on a full conversation.
The funniest part to me is when he had to look down to figure out how to drive the car. Like he had to tilt his mask down to look how to drive to pull around to talk to him again. That was funny.
Holton Blackwelder. That sounds like a guy I wouldn't want to mix it up with at a bar. Do you think Thomas and McCall emerge as starters next year, or do we need to hit the portal again at defensive back?
I mean, who in the world knows with McCall, right? I mean, if he's on the team, maybe, I guess. There's nothing that I've seen from him in practice that's like, yeah, he's definitely a starter in 2023, but he's also a freshman learning the game. So theoretically, probably he's going to get better. So he certainly got the measurables. I'd also be interested if he maybe moved to safety if he stayed. You know what I mean? I think maybe that would be more in his skill set. But again, he's played college football for a few months, so I'm not giving up on him as like an all-star cornerback or anything. Azaria, yeah, I think he'll be a starter. But is Renardo? What is Renardo? Is he a senior?
He was 2019, so
he's still got a year left,
at least, yeah, because 2020 doesn't count against anybody. So
yeah, I think Renardo's. I would definitely think Renardo's one of them. He's been terrific. Knock on wood. And so, yeah, I think Azaria could certainly make a run at the other one, or Amarian Cooper finds it again. He's just a sophomore, a true sophomore. So maybe he finds it again and becomes really good again.
Our guy James B says he's got reservations at Shula's for Thanksgiving.
Oh, man, is that open on Thanksgiving? All right, James B. Nice, buddy. Corner Pocket opens Thanksgiving night around 8 if you guys are interested in that.
Spiritix, as of now, wanted the signature win. Well, it's that signature moment.
Defining moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yesterday we were asked the signature win.
Yeah. Beating LSU in New Orleans and then being the 7th team in the country right now. I guess because, listen, man, the season's been up and down. Yeah. That was an up and down game. So it's kind of on par with what the season has been. So that might be it.
I would have liked it better if it was 31-17, which it should.
We all would have. We all would have. Timothy Dangerfield. Hey, guys, what about Peach Bowl or Liberty Bowl for FSU?
Well, the Peach Bowl is a New Year's 6 game, right? Could they get into that? Could they sneak into that, Aslan?
I don't know. I mean, would they could. I guess they could theoretically be ranked ahead of Clemson if they lose another game.
Well, no, couldn't Clemson go to the Orange Bowl?
Well, I mean, I'm saying Clemson would like lose to North Carolina in the championship game and then not go to it by virtue of that. Yeah, I'm not the bowl tying guy. I'm not Brett McMurphy, so I'm not 100% sure. I can't imagine they're going to make it into a New Year's Six bowl. I just can't imagine with Alabama floating out there still in the ether, and I don't think Liberty Bowl. I don't see Liberty Bowl having an ACC tie-in. So
how many New Year's are there? Are there 6 total? Excuse me, or 4? There's 6 total, right?
Yes.
So there's 4 New Year's 6 games, and then the 2 playoff games.
Correct.
So they'd have to be somewhere near the top 12.
Yes.
if they won out, they'd be floating around the top 12. But yeah, I don't. It seems like it'd be a really uphill climb for them to get there. Mainly because, like, if Florida was 8-1 and they beat them, that would be something. But you're not going to get any credit if you win out for these wins. So
yeah, I mean,
you're probably not going to go too high.
I mean, right now, here are the teams that are being discussed in New Year's Six Bowls. I think this was before last week's Georgia thrashing of Tennessee. Oregon, Michigan, LSU, TCU, Penn State, Bama, North Carolina. And then Clemson now is out of the mix for the playoff probably, so they fall into that net now.
Yes.
If Ole Miss beats Alabama, maybe they swap positions. If Notre Dame goes on a roll, Notre Dame probably jumps Florida State and figures out a way to get ahead of us. So let's just take the Cheez-It Bowl, guys. We haven't been to a bowl game in like 2 years.
Yeah.
I like your guys' ambition. I get it. But when I can't give you a clear answer, I get bumfuzzled. Let's go down here. We see somebody in the red. We'll go to Tom Kirkpatrick first, though. Since you're allowed to observe practice, what do you think about Woody switching to defensive line?
Aslan?
I don't know. I mean, he's there. I haven't really kept an eye on him. I haven't. When we're watching practice, we're up top Hauser for a good part of it, and defensive drills are done on the opposite practice field. And then when they move back into the IPF, I'm usually watching the offense do 7-on-7 while the offensive line and defensive line are doing pass rush stuff. So I haven't seen Antavius Woody take a live snap yet. He has, but I just haven't seen it. For you, Tom, actually, no, because I'm not going to practice next week. I'm not going to practice. I need to rest. I'm not going to Louisiana. No one watches the practice videos anymore, Corey. I'll show up to the interviews afterwards. I'll show up to do the interviews afterwards. I'll do that. Right. I'm not getting about it better. And again, I'm not doing it. I'll do it for Florida game. I'm not doing Louisiana. But Tom, 2 weeks from now, I'll let you know.
I just want everybody to know that I take Louisiana seriously. I'm not looking past them. It's one game at a time for this dude.
If Ray asks me to go, I will go, though.
Yeah, Ray, exactly right. If Ray wants to see that practice video, you better be there for practice video.
Yeah, I don't know if he's one of the 946 people that watched it this week.
Hey, we got Papuchis. We got John Papuchis up over 1,000 views by just complaining about it, and people are even commenting on it. So maybe we should go tell people, guys, Aslan's out there busting his butt, giving you all practice video. Go watch it. So what are they? How long are they, Aslan? 5 minutes? 4 minutes?
Yeah, like 5 minutes.
Yeah, just go in there and watch it. Give our guys some love with some views. That's all. Just for the brand's sake. Anyway, to Ray. Let's get to Ray.
Also, subscribe to the YouTube page right now. Lower right corner of the screen. Hit the thumbs up right now, too, as well as we've hit the sort of halfway mark of this show. Apparently, there's more people watching now. We'll get better engagement. So hit the thumbs up, please. That signals a like. That's all it does. We're not going to track you like Elon Musk is tracking you on Twitter right now. Oops. Ray says, Aslan, Corey, we have the best running back stable in the country now with 5 studs, including C.J. Campbell and Rodney Hill. Not sure how the Penn State transfer gets playing time. Do you agree? Go Noles.
I do. I don't foresee. Unless I don't see how Rodney Hill's going to get a ton of playing. I mean, it's a good problem to have, but they have, and they're all unique with Trayshawn and Trey and Toafili. They all have unique skill sets, but they're all good at what they do. Really good. Yeah, man. There aren't many teams in the country that have 3 guys that have made as many plays as these 3 guys have. And so, yeah, I don't know that you could argue that. I don't know if you could prove it or not. I'm sure there's other teams that have very talented running backs too, but they don't get the at-bats. The third string running back, whoever that is for Florida State, I don't even know. They don't get the at-bats that at other schools like they do at Florida State. Like how many touches did Toafili? If you want to say Toafili is the third string running back, I bet he's averaging 8 or 10 touches a game. Maybe more than that. That's crazy for a third string running back. Now, I know Trayshawn was out a couple of weeks, but still, he was getting a lot of carries before that.
Yeah, I can't. I saw him flash, but Keziah Holmes, that is like on Wednesday. I'm like, hey, man, that was pretty good snap. That was pretty good rep.
The Penn State transfer you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, there's just so many dudes ahead of him. But he also transferred, and somebody pointed out that the unlimited transfer rule didn't go through, so Micah would have to set off. He did transfer for my hot take. So,
there you go.
Keziah transferred in here, and he's going to be on scholarship. That would be tough. But yeah, I mean, looking at the snaps right here, Trey's got 203 on the year. Trayshawn Ward's got 164. Lawrence, I mean, I wouldn't have guessed that Lawrence had 300 compared. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I would have thought, the least amount of snaps out of all those guys.
So yeah, by those metrics, I guess Trayshawn is because Ward didn't play 3 games. So if you factor that out, he's averaging more plays per game than Trey Benson. So Trey Benson's averaging the least amount of plays of those 3, and he's probably your best guy. Not probably, he is your best guy if he's playing well. So yeah, man, it's a very talented room. And Rodney Hill he's got to play at some point. He's good. He's really good. He's like a flipping, I don't know, man, like a rocket ship coming out when he gets the ball going through a hole.
So it'd be cool if, I think like in correct me if I'm wrong, comment section, but association football, what we call soccer here, there's like transfer fees. So if like Manchester United wants to sign away whoever, like Messi away from Barcelona or whatever it is, like they've got to pay Barcelona a whole bunch of money. And that'd be cool if this whole transfer thing was like, all right, yeah, you can leave, you go wherever you want. But if Alabama wants to running back and they want Lawrence Field, they got to give us like $800,000.
Yep, towards the collective, so you can go sign for your NIL collective. There you go, Aslan. I'm sure that's going to be happening in the next 2 years. The way this thing's going,
I mean, it's a good question. It's quote unquote a good problem. I forgot what coach said. I know Willie said it, but somebody else said it here recently, just about like my job is to out recruit the last class I just had. I mean, you have to keep getting better and better talent. They probably won't get it back. Maybe I don't even know if they have a back right now committed. I don't have the list in front of me here, but I wonder what they do there, because that's a lot of dudes. And I mean, they're all not going to be happy. I mean, but they are happy right now. So who knows? Maybe it'll all work out. Maybe
there was also a lot of green, dark green and light blue on that offensive PFF chart you just had.
Yeah.
It looks a lot different than it did 2 years ago.
It does. Florida State currently 17th right now. I don't see a running back. Oh, Sam Singleton. I forgot. Yeah, I mean, like, that's the question there. It's like, what do you, what's your end
Well,
game?
I think, look, man, Toafili, Ward, and Benson, if they don't leave this year, will be leaving the following year probably. So you might have to wait your turn for a year or two. But that's how it works when you go to good schools, which we hope Florida State is now. You don't just roll in as a true freshman and play a lot. As Rodney Hill's finding out, we think Rodney Hill might be good, really good.
Quantrell knows what back on the roster do you think has the best NFL potential? He says Rodney Hill.
Man, when you watch I wouldn't have agreed with this maybe 5 or 8 or 10 years ago because Benson's body type. But when you watch the NFL, number one, they just find running backs everywhere, guys you've never heard of. All you really have to do is hit a hole and hit it hard. And man, it doesn't really matter your size anymore even. Rodney Hill does that. He's certainly not a prototypical size, but maybe, I mean, we'll see. He certainly hits a hole like an NFL running back. The problem with that position is you hit that hole really hard for 3 or 4 years. You don't have a lot of juice left typically because you take such a beating. That's why the guys like Dalvin are such a rarity, because he might be doing it for another 3 to 5 years as one of the best in the league, and that just doesn't happen a lot.
Yeah, like Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley was on top of the world for 10 minutes and then absolutely chop liver.
Yeah.
Out of the league.
Yeah, it's crazy how Priest Holmes, guys like that are just incredible for these 3 or 4 year windows and then done. Devontae Freeman was great and then just fell off completely, especially at that size. It's hard.
At least he got that second contract, though.
He did, man. He did. Wasn't great for the Falcons, but I was really happy for him.
It's Nick Weber. Weber like the grill.
I think it's Weber.
Or is it Weber?
Grill. Yeah, I think it's a Weber grill. Yeah.
I don't know. We'll never know.
I think we do. I think it's Weber.
All right, Weber. What are y'all wanting to see from the team here on out? I know W's, but what do we need to see to keep the optimism going for the offseason and next year? I think the figuring out how to win and being consistent on both sides. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think at least 2 wins. I should say at least 3 wins, including the bowl game. That would make me feel good. That gets you to 9, whether it's 9-3 at the end of the regular season or 9-4 after a bowl game. I think you feel good. about a 9-win season coming off a 5-win season. And then I think a lot of it, I really do like the direction of everything. I think what we're all going to be paying attention to is that Saturday after the Florida game. Who's on Twitter? Who's on Instagram? Is there going to be a Twitter? But if who's on Instagram, who's on social media saying that they're coming back or that they're leaving? I think that's where and I'm optimistic either way, but you would see a lot. I don't know, other than the team, not having a meltdown. I trust that they're going to play well and play hard because they always play hard and they have been playing well. I think my optimism about next year and moving forward is the going into the offseason is more about what happens on social media the day after the Florida game.
Yeah. Well said. Can't really disagree with any of that. What I would say, I am curious to see, again, if they win out here in the regular season, I really am curious to see who they'll match up against in a bowl game. Like, what if they do get Alabama? Like, what if Alabama, loses to Ole Miss and they've got 3 losses and they're 9-3 and Florida State's 9-3 and they're like, hey, we'll run it in Tampa or we'll put it in Orlando. And
has Alabama been in a position like that since they became this?
Yeah. 19, they lost 2 games. They lost to Joe Burrow and they lost to Auburn. They played in the whatever the better bowl in Orlando is.
Did half their teams sit out?
I don't remember. I don't recall.
It'd be interesting to see what Bryce Young would do in a situation like that, since he's not going to be playing for. Like, is he going to play in the bowl game?
No, he doesn't need to. No, but
that's like he might though. And Alabama might. I don't know. It just
that Milroe kid will probably be. I want to see Florida State go against another big boy. I think LSU was a big boy. I mean, they've grown into a big boy. Clemson was. I think we got. I would like to know what the GPS said on Clemson. I feel like Clemson probably played their best game of the entire year against Florida State that night.
Yeah, on offense for sure.
I want to see them play Ole Miss, or I don't know about TCU. I don't know if TCU would fall that far to play a team that's got 3 losses unless they just totally melted down. But I'm curious to see how they'll look against a team outside this conference that's got some pedigree and cachet. But
yeah,
to feel really optimistic, Corey's point, obviously who's coming back, and then it'd be nice for them to get another 5-star guy or 2, but it sounds like that's probably not going to happen, at least in this cycle, because, I mean, all these good vibes are happening now, November 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. I mean, these kids are making their decision in less than a month. So it's kind of a tough ask to say, hey, man, we were 4-3 30 days ago, but now we're killing it. You should come to us, when they, kind of made a decision to go elsewhere.
Yeah, I feel like most of those guys already have their mind made up in November. The way recruiting is now, it's quicker, it's earlier and earlier. I don't even know if the 4-3 start had any negative impact. I mean, I don't know that they lost any guys. They haven't gained many guys. Who knows? The transfer portal too, though, right? You can get some 5-stars in there, that will be wide open the day after the Florida game as well.
A reminder, again, we're coming to you live here on Thursday night on YouTube. It is your Friday podcast. But check out our friends over at DeLuna Coffee, DeLunaCoffee.com. The promo code WARCHANT15 will save you 15% on most items at the website. Again, go to the shop up top, hit gifts. And look at that, man. Get yourself the WARCHANT bundle of coffee, or you can either get the cocoa and you get the tumbler. That's what matters. Keep it for yourself. Give it to dad. Give it to mom. Or maybe give it to your boss as a big-time Florida State fan. You're just watching us because you have nothing else to do. And keep the coffee for yourself. You won't be disappointed either way. DeLunaCoffee.com, promo code WARCHANT15. Kevin Hickson, all caps, Kevin Hickson. What do you guys think the interior defensive line will look like if Fabian and Robert leave for the draft?
Well, Robert has to leave. Yeah. It's not, again, that's my biggest concern going into next year. Well, I guess quarterback. And then defensive line.
He's coming back.
Just let's make sure. But then defensive line is I think there's some nice pieces, perhaps, including Patrick Payton for sure on the edge. But I think you're going to need at least 2 big time players out of the portal. And
there's no reason to think they can't get that done. There's no reason.
Absolutely not, man. If Jared Verse leaves and he's a late first or early second round pick, and you've done that 2 years in a row for guys that have been in your program for 1 year, yeah, you should not have many issues recruiting defensive ends. moving forward, because they've done a really nice job here. This defense, I don't know if it's for playmakers, but it's for edge rushers. That's Fuller's calling card. So yeah, man, I think you will have like I said, a bigger pond to fish out of with all these positions, but defensive line too.
Has your mind changed at all about how much you can rely on the portal, seeing as what they've done here?
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I wrote about though. Like the portal's great for a team that's up and coming or trying to get back to respectability, which Florida State is now. And now you plug. You don't just take everybody. You can be more be more choosy and selective. So no, I think that you want to get to a place where you're recruiting well enough that you need 4 guys, not 14. I think that's where you want to be. But right now, I think Florida State's in the middle, in between 4 and 14.
Our guy Eric Angel's in the crib with 37.
Okay, Eric Angel, thanks, buddy.
Dollar bills, y'all.
I think the 37 signifies his score prediction of Florida State 37, Syracuse 16.
Okay, all right.
They will blow out Louisiana and Florida. You heard it now, live. Let's go, Noles. Aslan and Corey.
Well, thank you, Eric. That would be a great win, a 37-16 win, covering the spread on the road again. It's like the old days. Did you hear that stat that Ira had that they hadn't won? This is the first time since 13 they've won 4 games by 25 or more points in a season.
Really?
Yeah. They're not quite on the level of the 2013 team. I'm going to go ahead and say that. I don't want you to argue with me, but still, it's good that they're doing that. It's good that they're that much better than teams and proving it.
Those stats always make me uneasy because I feel they're always like veiled shots at Jimbo. It's
what?
Like, hey,
I mean, the 13 team was Jimbo's team.
I know, but it's been that long. Like you have to be at that, like that's where we're at right now. Like even the 16 team didn't do that. Like this is where we're at right now with this guy. Like recognize. We need to do a bet though too on the contract extension details. Like a year, we should do like a gentleman's bet on the year and the amount of money, average salary.
Okay, all right.
I think we're so far apart on what we think.
We are.
So, I mean, could you, Corey, if you knew what the lead writer at PowerMizzou.com was making, you wouldn't be like, hey man,
hey, I don't have to pay state income tax though. That's the beauty of living in Florida, gang. I don't have to pay state income tax, so it all comes out. It's all a wash. But yeah, if I knew that the guy at Mizzou was making more than me and didn't have a podcast, a wildly popular podcast, like 2 of them, like I do, yeah, I might go in for a renegotiation just to get close, just to get in the ballpark. But I mean, Gene could always say no.
How could you go to Norvell with less than 6 a year if he ends up going 9-3?
I mean, I think it's all about who you're competing
who is
with.
Missouri competing against?
I don't know. These schools are ridiculous. I'm so sick of it. Is it McCullough? It's McCullough's the president at Florida State, right? Yeah. Come on, man. I shouldn't just talk to you because I don't want you to be cheap. You got to keep up with the Joneses. All you presidents are just complete idiots. Who in the world is coming for Eli Drinkowitz? That Mizzou's like, wow, we got to lock this guy up. He almost beat Georgia. He almost beat Auburn. I mean, what are you doing? It's just nuts what these guys do. So, yeah, I mean, who is Norvell? Who's coming to get Norvell? Why would you need to, give him a 40% raise?
I don't know. Who was coming after Elijah? Micro venture funding. What do we need to see from the defense for the rest of the year to know the co-defensive coordinators need an extension?
Ray Pereira asked one that popped up too that we didn't get to about Randy Shannon. And I thought that occurred to me like a couple of weeks ago. It's like he is technically the co-defensive coordinator, but we don't ever talk to Randy Shannon. I don't know if it's because he doesn't like doing it or if he's lesser involved in the game planning than Fuller. We don't see him much. He's always very pleasant when we do talk to him, but I never got the idea, even when he was the head coach at Miami, that he liked the press. He liked that part of the job much. So he might have just like asked, let Adam do it all. Let Adam stay doing that. Maybe also to keep the dynamics kind of the same since you hired, like, you know what I mean? Like, it'd be weird if Adam Fuller all of a sudden wasn't talking to us. It was Randy Shannon. Like, that would seem maybe like a demotion. I don't know. It's a good question, though.
I mean, Chris Thompson's the deputy head coach. We never speak to him. So,
Well, he's not a coordinator. We
That's
talk to the
higher-
coordinators.
that's higher on the
What do you think would get
General
more views? Randy Shannon or John Papuchis? I love you, John. Come on, man. Go block a kick this week.
I mean, if as long as they keep Florida under 30, I get it, everybody. You want this defense to look like Jeremy Pruitt 2013 with Jalen Ramsey and Timmy Jernigan and Christian Jones and Telvin Smith and all these dudes and Darby and Williams covering corners. They don't have that. What else do you want from this defense?
No, I wouldn't expect. I certainly wouldn't expect either one. I mean, they're like top 20 in the country in total defense. I wouldn't expect a change to be made there unless something goes horribly wrong the last 4 games, which could happen. I mean, I'm not saying it won't, but when they're healthy and they have those guys up front, they've been very good defensively. They've held the last 2 teams they've played since Fabian Lovett came back to under 100 yards of total offense in the first half each game. That's pretty impressive.
And listen, I get it, man. Liars, figures lie and liars figure. And I get they don't maybe look like the 17th best defense in the country. I understand. I mean, they're not this sort of like dominant wrecking crew force. But like, how do you get rid of him? Like, why? I mean, what do you Dan Lanning's going to leave Eugene to come back to be a coordinator? This is too much stress. I don't want to be a head coach. I mean, unless you just have some feeling about some guy out there that you just know is going to give you some added edge. I don't know, maybe he's some sort of ace recruiter. He can bring 2 dudes at the school he's at right now that you think will push you over the top. I just can't see a world in which you think you go to Adam Fuller, you're like, nah, man, we tried. I'll put in a good word for you, with Charles Huff at Marshall. Maybe you can go back home. Look at those numbers. They allow 308 yards a game. That's 17th best in the country. They only allow 19.8 points per game. That's 22nd best. And I know DVOA, give me adjusted for, opponent. I get it's fair. They played some really bad defenses, but bad offenses, but they don't let them score on them. Like, Miami still put 27 points on North Carolina. Georgia Tech is still scoring points against Pitt. They absolutely mauled and strangled these teams. So I don't know, man. Again, we've talked about it, but at the end of the day, Norvell has to, especially now because he's not in danger of being on the hot seat. Is that the best you can do? That's what he has to ask himself. Now that he's established himself at Florida State, say they finish with 8 or 9 wins. Not just, hey, he doesn't deserve to get fired because they were pretty good this year. Is there somebody out there that's awesome that we can get? That's what running an organization is. You might have a job where you have a pretty good salesman, and there's this unbelievable salesman at your competitor. The pretty good salesman didn't lose he doesn't deserve maybe to be fired, but you need that guy. So that could come into play, but I wouldn't see how with the way Adam Fuller's unit is played. But again, there's also 3 regular season games left in a bowl game. Jay, we might open the phone lines one of these weeks just to get you back in here, just to hear you talk. I know some of the takes, not as strong as they used to be. Who's he's talking
about the kid at NC State? Was he a Nole? Did he want to be a Nole? I didn't know that.
I think they were recruiting him. I don't know if he got turned away or what happened there, but if that's what we're looking at right now. Hey, we're at a good spot right now when like your knock against your current coach is maybe the 3rd string quarterback at NC State turns out to be really good and we didn't get him.
Hey, he's the one now, buddy. He's the one.
Hey, look who it is.
Guys, this is a very special occasion. The Godfather himself has been kind enough to grace us with his presence. The Godfather.
I love you, Jay, by the way. My dog, you know that.
Listen, I don't want to give Mike Norvell 5 years, $80 million, $40 million either. But like, what do you say to the guy? I mean, like, I think Jay, there's a lot of Jay's very pro Dion, which I get, but like, you don't have a lot to stand on right now. If you're like thinking that there's finding weaknesses in Mike Norvell right now is tough. It's a tough find right now, but MJ Morris, possibly.
Maybe he ends up being awesome. Then yeah, you might be ruined today.
looking through. Maybe. Again, and I'm not on Jimmy Sexton's payroll. I'm not on Mike Norvell's payroll either. Just saying.
You're on
There's
Gene Williams'
Ed,
payroll.
I'm on Ed Lemmix's payroll. $50
that's
in the
right.
jar. $50 in the jar. He's still relishing the Miami beatdown. Let's continue this at Syracuse. 38-17, he says. Go Noles. Great job, you guys.
Thanks, Ed. Hope we see you soon, buddy. For real. Gonna get some of that cocoa for that's getting a little nipply up here in Georgia. They got to get some cocoa to warm the bones. Yeah, man. He's got a very similar score to Eric Angel. People are thinking about 21 points. That would be that would be awesome. That would just be awesome. 3 straight ACC wins by 3 touchdowns or more. That doesn't happen a lot.
Matty O back. Guys, if the core of the team returns, division's eliminated next year, what's Florida State's chance at the ACC championship?
See, that's what I keep forgetting. Thank you, Matthew, because I keep thinking, man, even if most of the guys return, what are the odds they're going to go up and beat Clemson and Clemson? Because Clemson will start. That's going to be a really tough game, even if it just will be. It always is, of course. They haven't won there since Jameis was a freshman. So they're not, even if they don't win at Clemson, well, there you go. They can't win the Atlantic. Oh, wait, there isn't an Atlantic. So good question, Matthew. I keep, just for my own personal sake, I keep forgetting that they're getting rid of division. So Florida State could lose to Clemson and then get to play them again in the championship game. So if they get the core back, I mean, yeah,
they'll be the second highest ranked team in the conference when the polls come out preseason next year. If they bring back if Jordan comes back and they bring back one of two of Verse and Fabian, I think.
Yep, I agree. I think they'll be maybe North Carolina because of the quarterback, but I think Florida State probably will be an overall better team than that. They certainly will have a better defense if those guys come back. Yeah, man, I would think they'd be preseason top 15, and they would have a legitimate chance, a real shot, playing a game in November to maybe wrap up a chance to go back to Charlotte. How about that, Aslan? How about that? That would be something. You ever been to Charlotte?
Have I ever been to Charlotte?
Yeah.
Not to cover a game, but for kickoff.
I have, buddy. I've been there a few times to cover ACC championship games.
I lost it, but somebody was asking about what do we think about any other coaches from this conference maybe leaving this season, like getting fired? Because Satterfield seems like maybe he's turned it around.
Yeah, he's safe, I think.
We'll see, though, man. I mean, they still got Clemson, and they got Kentucky at the end of the year. And if they lose bad to Kentucky,
maybe, but I feel like whoever's in between, I thought was like a cup. I may be wrong. Maybe they played the non-conference team last. They did. They played JMU, right?
I know, but what you're going to run? You're going to like 7-5, like you're going to run that back?
I mean, I don't. You going to run them out for 7-5? I mean, it's Louisville. What have they done since Johnny Unitas was there? They had a nice run with Lamar Jackson, and even he didn't win 10 games. I don't think. Like it's Louisville.
Well, Teddy Bridgewater too.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. I forgot. Sorry, I was thinking about since they were in the ACC. But, yeah, Teddy Bridgewater was the truth, man. That was a good team they had. They beat Florida in that bowl game.
Maybe MJ Morris will be the one that puts Scott Satterfield out.
Yeah, you're right. Now, they could lose. I mean, look, man, they're going to be underdogs, at least in 2 of those. Yeah, I feel if they lose out, they would be. Man, they lost to Boston College, too. Yikes. Yikes. Come on, Scott. Way to turn it around after that, but goodness gracious.
If I had to bet, I probably would say Dino Babers. He was on the shakiest ground maybe going into the season. I know that 6-0 start was a lifetime ago for them.
Yeah, he might be coaching for his job maybe Saturday. If he wins that game, he's staying, I think. Yes. But if he doesn't and they're on a 4-game losing streak with I think they at least got one more tough game after that. Yeah, to start 6-0 and finish 7-5, and you're not really beloved up there anyway. It would not appear. That might be something you can't overcome.
All right, what else we got here? We're almost at the hour mark. Again, hit the thumbs up, everybody. It signals a like. That's all it does. Piece of cake.
I don't know if there's any other coach in the because all the other ones are new. Like Virginia Tech's terrible, but their coach is new. Virginia's not any good, but their coach is new. Georgia Tech doesn't have a coach, so yeah, I think Babers and Satterfield are the ones, and I don't even know how likely that is.
Yeah, because again, Virginia Tech first season, so they're not going to get rid of him. CJ Hertz asked, "What happened to Jarrell Powers?" I don't know. Have I seen him at practice lately? Still on the roster? I mean, they got. Should we count the amount of tight ends they have on the roster, Corey?
Oh, it's 6 or 11 or 15. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Brian Courtney's the one that stands out the most during practice.
He's still on the rooster. Yeah, he's there.
All right,
I'll keep
good.
an eye out for him. Maybe I'll put him in the practice video that I don't shoot this week. But yeah, Brian Courtney, focus on him. Maybe he gets involved here in the next 3 weeks, slowly, surely.
Yeah.
Because that would make you feel good too, right? If he catches 4 passes over the next 2-3 games and maybe once for a touchdown, maybe it's like a good bowl game. Then you're thinking about, Jordan and these running backs and this offensive line and Johnny Wilson. And now you have a tight end, a 3-back.
Yeah.
That really opens up things. And you're like, all right, how are you going to defend this team? They can run the
You
ball.
can't.
The quarterback can run. Yeah. So, but they did talk up about Jarrell Powers having like the build of a wide receiver, running like a wide receiver, but being physical like a tight end. So he's out there, I'm sure. There's 85 guys on scholarship. I can't.
And a lot of them wear scout numbers too, so you don't even see their numbers. They're wearing black jerseys replicating the opponent, so it's hard to know who's who sometimes. Sand
Beast just walked in. How late am I?
Show's over, Sand Beast. Yeah. You are really late.
Yeah, you are really late. Noel Princess, if I don't see practice video for next week, I'll be very disappointed in you.
I agree. I'm still going to write next week, Noel Princess. I'm not, I'm still doing my thing. We're still going to be doing a show, right, Aslan? Or are we going to take the week off before Louisiana with this show too?
No, I mean, listen, I wake up every day and I breathe and I disappoint my mother. So if I disappoint some random person on the internet, I'll be fine. I will sleep fine because I won't be at practice because I'll be asleep. Micro venture funding. Should we expect a transfer tight end this offseason? No, they got all these bodies. Unless Brock Bowers wants to somehow.
I mean, if there's a good one out there, like a known commodity, you're not taking somebody for depth. Right. But if you get a starter from a guy that put up great numbers in a group of 5 or a former 5-star or high 4-star that just wants to be closer to home or something, yeah, you might. I think Mike would love a impactful tight end. We like Brian Courtney's potential, but there's no proof. There's no tangible proof yet that he'd be impactful.
I don't mean to drag Ray's personal conversation into the chat, but I will. If Deion were to leave Jackson State, Travis Hunter, does he stay in Jackson, Mississippi? Does he follow Deion? Does he come home to Tallahassee? I know Michael Langston said that he wouldn't be coming here.
I would think there was. I've never talked to the kid. I would say there's about a 4% chance that if Deion left, he would stay. Okay. And I don't even know that means he's following Deion. But I also think even if Deion stays, again, I brought this up after the FSU LSU game. Like, what was Travis Hunter thinking watching that game? Like that energy, that crowd, that atmosphere. And look, man, game day came there, which is really cool. I'm not dismissing that. It was a really cool, and I'm not brushing it off. It's a really cool moment for that program and for that conference. But they won't be back. And when Deion leaves, they might not ever come back or even think about coming back. They're there because Deion's there. And when Deion leaves, Jackson State leaves the national consciousness. And game day won't be there. And so I don't think Travis Hunter would be there. And he looks around and sees all these guys that he played in All-American Bowls with, and they're on TV, and their ratings are 3.5, 4 million, 7 million. And Jackson State's not getting that, man. I mean, I guess he might not care. Maybe he just loves it for the love of the game, but I would be very, very surprised if Travis Hunter is there next season.
I know Nick needs receivers. I wonder if he'll ask his Geico buddy. Or no, with Aflac? Yeah, they got the duck. So he only has 2 games of stats offensively.
Yeah.
18 total reps.
Yep.
Not great against Southern. But I'm not going to. That kid, he's a freak, man.
He's very, very good. Florida State would have really enjoyed having him on the roster.
Yeah. Defensively, a little bit better defensively there.
Yeah.
So he's played in 4 games.
Yeah, the last 2, he's played the whole game.
Yeah.
So he got, he got, I think it was an ankle. I'm not sure what it was, but he was out for a month at least. But yeah, man, it's cool that he's back.
All right, that's a wrap. We did it. We made it to the end of it. It's your.
We got our Travis Hunter talk in too.
Yeah, it's the Friday podcast in the books. Thanks for joining us here live on Thursday night. It's been Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. And since we have been live, also our good friends over at DeLuna Coffee. Want to give a thanks to all you folks for being here, hanging out, asking us questions. Hit the thumbs up on your way out. Subscribe to the YouTube page. It's free. It's lower right corner.
Subscribe to Warchant, the website, too. Do that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Thanks to Ed, Eric, Ray, James, and Matthew. We appreciate the heck out of all you guys. Really cool.
Yep, you guys are the best. Thank you very, very much. And hopefully when we talk to you again, it'll be another 3-game winning streak in the books for the Noles, on its way to 5 games or 6 games.
Jeff Cameron Show, 1 to 3 o'clock Friday. Warchant Game Day presented by Zaxby's. Pre-game show starts at 7 o'clock. It's 1 hour with Jeff and Tom. Then the watch along with Dominic, myself, and Tom takes you up until the post-game show with Tom and Gene. Warchant wrap, Ira on site, Corey and his estate in Greater Atlanta. All the interviews afterwards, courtesy of Ira working hard. Corey's post-game column, all that. It's all available. 10 American dollars. Whole year. For Corey and Josiah in the back there, we thank you all for being here. Thanks for watching Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill and DeLuna Coffee. Some deuces, Corey, maybe, please?